A new phase has officially started for the crypto market with the announcement that was made today by the US Treasury Department. And if you're not aware of exactly what happened, let me quickly present it to you because this one announcement made Ethereum jump like 8% in an hour, Bitcoin jump like 6 to 7% in an hour, and XRP also 4%. So what is really the big deal? Well, on July 31st, we called for the US government intervention as long-term borrowing cost hit 2008 levels, which is obviously bad. Today, it officially happened. The US Treasury is doubling their buybacks to $4 billion per operation for liquidity support. And what comes next? Well, let me quickly explain. As you can quickly already see from the infographic, the little chart, I guess, that I've got in front of me, the US 30-year note yields hit their highest points in June 2007. And then all of a sudden, the US Treasury decided to announce some new intervention of pushing a lot of money out. The numbers are still quite low, but we'll talk about that in a second. And pretty much instantly, the rates dropped from about 5.28.5% all the way down to 5.19. Now, this is again very far away from where they want it to be, but it's a step in the right direction. And let me explain that. So the US 30-year note yield rose to 5.27%, crazy high. And this officially marks a 450 basis point rally since the low of the 2020 pandemic. So back then, these bonds only yielded about 0.6% or so at the lowest price point, right? Or at the lowest point in the 2020 pandemic. And right now they're above 5%, which is absolutely crazy. Even as the Fed kept interest rate paused at July meeting, it did nothing. These yields just kept on climbing. But why? Well, first, we began the year with market expectations of 3 great rate cuts in 2026. This then shifted from getting them lower to getting them higher, expected in 2026 at least. Expectations shifted for rates to be 125 basis points or 1.25% higher in a matter of months. So the 2025 global rate cut cycle came to a halt. Now, I've described it a ton of times on the channel before, but I'll explain it in a simple, logical manner, just really quickly for all those that have no idea. The higher that inflation is, the worse your country kind of starts to suffer because people can't afford things no more. But on the opposite side, the higher the interest rate is, it kind of depends on your country, but also theoretically speaking, the more interest payments that could have to be paid all around. But let me dive a bit deeper into that. We all know that the US likes to borrow around the world and likes to borrow from internal as well. Now, the thing with all that borrowing is there's also a cost attached. All these bonds, they're basically borrowing, right? And the higher that percentage gets, the more that the US government will have to pay. So they prefer if this number is as low as possible, meaning they almost get money basically for free. Now, what happened in the past couple of months is we had the US intervene in the whole Middle East situation, which caused oil prices to absolutely skyrocket, but also actually prices all around, inflation to go pretty crazy. Now, normally to combat that, we could play around with the interest rate because if you think about it logically, if inflation is crazy high, but your interest rate is really low, well, what people are going to do, right, if you keep cutting out, let's just hit the microphone, keep cutting them, is people are not going to save anymore and they're just going to spend more on new projects, causing inflation to get even higher. And that's the point right here. Back in a little bit earlier throughout the year, the Iran war drove prices per oil barrel up crazy. Inflation expectations hit 5% plus by November, and this left the Fed with no option but to halt rate cuts because the lower you put the rates, the more people are inclined to spend right now, and the less of a propensity they have to save their money, the more they want to consume as soon as possible. And logically, you can also see this about a job site. If you are a construction company, would you rather start expanding right now when the interest rate is 0.5% or next year, right? Well, if the interest rate was high, you have a very high likelihood you'd prefer not to borrow money right now, or you prefer to just save it up for maybe next year when hopefully the rates are lower. So they began considering rate hikes to stop the consumption, stop the inflation. Month-over-month inflation in March and April came to plus 0.9% and 0.6% respectively. Absolutely crazy. Now today, oil prices are well below the recent highs, but remain about 55% above pre-war levels. Furthermore, the Fed expectations have shifted towards a continued pause throughout the end of 2026. Meanwhile, yields keep on pushing higher amid record deficit spending and inflation worries. So that's again what kind of can be seen here in the oil price. Today's intervention by the U.S. Treasury Department is notable. Treasury buybacks work by repurchasing older, less liquid bonds, giving investors a steady buyer while new debt issuance continues. So again, the U.S., basically what they do is they need money. And they want it from anybody out there, and they give a percentage back. These are what are called bonds. They're like almost what you can call government loans, right? Now, there's old ones, there's new ones, and the U.S., and actually almost every country, keeps reissuing these more and more of these loans that can last for 5 years, 1 year, 30 years, you pick a number. Now, what they're doing here with these buybacks is they're buying back the loans from earlier. That's literally what's being said right here. They're repurchasing older, less liquid bonds that are not being traded as often, giving investors a steady buyer while they're still also issuing new debt, new bonds. The goal is to improve liquidity and ease upside in yields. In other words, they blinked. So this also marks the second most notable bond market intervention by the Trump administration. In April 2025, President Trump said he was watching the bond market when he decided to announce his 90-day tariff pause. The 10-year note yield is now above the peak seen all the way back then. We had Liberation Day at 3.85%, Trump announcing the 90-day tariff pause at 4.55% or so. Absolutely crazy. Now, take a look at the wording of today's press release. The doubling of the buybacks to $4 billion per operation is in effect from September 9th all the way throughout November 4th. However, the Treasury says it will provide more info about their future buybacks on that date, so this is not the end of it, and actually, matter of fact, they expect even more intervention and perhaps even crazier buybacks. As the reality of the matter is that the U.S. government needs no lower interest rates more than anyone else. Why? Because they've got so much debt. And over the past 12 months, the U.S. has spent $1.4 trillion on just interest rate alone, or just interest alone. And by November of 2028, this is expected to hit $1.7 trillion a year. So just that number alone is just mind-boggling, the amount they're spending just on interest, just to pay people, just to pay other countries. Borrowing costs have more than doubled since 2020, and the U.S. debt servicing costs to simply stop going up, the U.S. 5-year yield needs to fall to about 3.25%. And now when you look at the current yields, that's pretty staggering because it means it needs to drop by 1.1%, and that would only simply keep it at $1.4 trillion a year. The bond market has arguably become the most important long-term fundamental to watch. And as it says right here, we believe the bond market will continue to serve as a key leading indicator for investors, and as a result, we continue to update our models. Well, if you're honestly wondering, this is the most important thing to watch right now, the 5-year government bonds. If this does not get back to around 3.25%, the U.S. debt servicing costs will still increase, going from $1.4 trillion to numbers even higher, and currently even towards $1.7 trillion a year to just pay this back. And actually, I'm saying that wrong. I shouldn't say pay back. I should say pay on loans they've got, besides even paying it back. But anyway, this is all what caused the market to do some absolutely crazy things over the past couple of hours. And if I quickly scroll towards my XRP trade right here, if I can quickly find it in the midst of them, where is it? It's the bottom one right here. I'll quickly move towards the top. We are now only down $560,000 on the specific XRP trade as the market is pushing up hard. Matter of fact, throughout the day, you can see right here, we're up like 7.5% or so. And all of my older positions now as well, even though we're still down a couple $1 million most likely on just some of these trades, right? We're doing tremendously much better than what we were doing just yesterday or just earlier throughout the day. Like things are finally starting to look a little bit doable yet again. And that's actually also one of the beautiful things about my trading bots. I mean, just earlier today, I wanted to make a video about an XRP scalp bot that could literally buy XRP every single time it went a bit below $1. And all of a sudden, the market just started to go absolutely insane, which, you know, I love to see, don't get me wrong, but that makes you realize, damn, what a crazy market we are in, where all of a sudden, after hitting the lowest volatility we've ever seen on Bitcoin, we've ever seen on any coin really, Ethereum just makes a record-breaking day. And actually, when we're taking a look at total liquidations, I think I saw one of the highest numbers I've ever seen in an hour, as I believe the number in 1 hour was like $1.3 billion worth of short that got liquidated, like 1.27 billion or something. I think the last time I saw that was indeed back in October of 2025. Now, that was, again, an absolutely crazy day, but for the fact that this is just kind of like a mediocre announcement, the market also had such a field day, and the more shorts that could liquidate it, the better of a position that we are in. So I'm very happy to see this happening right now. If you're into stocks, if you're into crypto, this is definitely a very, very interesting day for you and for the entirety of the markets, because right now we're back in the freaking zone. Yesterday, we covered that the most important hurdle to get over was this hurdle between 66,000 and roughly $66,500. We've gotten above that. All we need today is that closure, right? That's again what we're looking for over the next couple of hours, that closure after escaping from this zone. As you can see right here, 66.7 and roughly 65.8 was the zone we had to get over. We got over it right now a bit faster than expected. And if y'all remember my prediction, this is what I drew out before. I expect us to go above it, get ourselves a little bit of trading days going before a retest, perhaps to the upper bound, perhaps to the lower bound. We're not 100% sure, before bouncing back off. Most likely a little bit later throughout the year, because the overarching theory is the following. We believe, from a weekly perspective here, if I scroll on through, we believe that every bear cycle lasts about a year. Look at this, right? From top to bottom, roughly, let's say a year, right? 364 days. Here, top to bottom, roughly a year, let's say about 364 days, right? Plus or minus a little bit. If we're taking the top right here towards the next bottom, we expect it to be roughly here, let's say the beginning of October or so of 2026. So from this point on forward, about a month and a half, something like that. That's where we expect the lowest point to have been hit already. Now, it could be 2 weeks afterwards. It could be a couple weeks earlier. We just expect that within this box right here, the lowest point of the cycle is reached, and it could very well be that we are actually a couple weeks earlier, like for example right now. We don't expect the pump to necessarily just continue from here on forward, or rather, if it does, we still expect the end of 2026 to not be above these previous heights. Matter of fact, if we take a look at it, it always takes a bit of a while before you break the previous high. Here it took like 800 days before the new high was breached, and in the previous time, it took roughly 1,100 days or so before the previous high was breached. But if you take a look at the bottom to roughly halfway throughout the cycle, usually that happens within the next like 5 or so months. So here, for example, if we take this entire downfall, right, let's say 85%, we take a look at how long it took to get halfway back towards the top. Usually takes about 150 days. And in this case here also, if you take a look at how long it took, let's say roughly here, about 250 days here, but the first time it got close was also around 150 days to get about halfway through, if you get my drift, yeah. So here again, perhaps from that bottom, if it takes a similar sort of level, we'd be perhaps seeing ourselves, pretty close towards the previous top in March of 2027 or so. These are just some thoughts. These are just some ideas that I wanted to share out there. Then again, remember guys, altcoins, they're not in the best of spots, but they're looking pretty good, at least better than they've looked over the past couple of months. Today is your day, right? It's a very, very good day, a very good start to something beautiful, and I really just hope that this continues on. But yeah, if you're looking into trading, make sure you check out the first link in the description down below. It's BotTrading.net. It's a platform I made for just everything related to crypto trading / AI. Some cool guides are over on there. But most importantly, if you just put your email in there, you'll get a little guide for how to connect your claw to TradingView. Most important step. And the rest will come later on. That's about it for this little crypto update. And I'll see you guys again in another one, hopefully somewhere later today.